Everybody, thank you so much for coming back to another video. And in today's video, we're going to be talking about Couples Retreat. BLACKTASTIC Media is here once again to talk about another movie with me. This time I had him check out Couples Retreat, a film that I'm not going to lie, I was fairly disappointed to hear that he didn't like too much, but that's why I love doing these videos, these collabs, is being able to review things and kind of hear other people's opinions. Sometimes we're right on the money, sometimes we're right on the exact same wavelength as far as our feelings, and sometimes we're completely on the opposite end of things. And this series of videos, these series of collabs that I've been doing have been a lot of fun and a great way to kind of, you know, shoot the shit and talk about different movies, whether I love them or somebody else loves them and I don't love them or they don't love them. And it's been a fun way to kind of, you know, discuss film that we don't like or that we do like and just have fun with it. And yeah, you know, I love doing this stuff. And especially when it comes to things like comedies. If you guys have noticed, I haven't done a whole lot of comedy reviews here on this channel. And a huge reason for that is because comedy, more so than I think anything else, is so subjective. I would say comedy and music are some of the most subjective art forms of all time. And so some things are just not going to fly with you. There are certain things in certain films, as far as film lovers, that, you know, people are going to praise. There are certain movies that are going to come out and maybe say you're not crazy about it or as crazy at other people, but for the most part, if it's a really good movie, majority of the film community can at least acknowledge that it is a great film. Whereas when it comes to comedies, man, it is so subjective. It really just depends on whether or not you're gonna laugh. And so for me, Couples Retreat, I love this movie. This is one of those comedies that is just a guilty pleasure. And I don't even really want to call it a guilty pleasure because I just genuinely do enjoy it. This humor definitely speaks to me. There's something about how dry it is at times, how stupid and slapsticky it can be at times, and just the way that some of the performances are done in this film that just gives me a smile every single time I watch it. I've genuinely seen this movie on so many occasions, whether it was just on TV, at a friend's house, showing it to a friend, or just me going to bed and putting it onto the TV. There are so many nights that I have put this movie on to go to sleep to, and I end up watching half of the movie, if not more of it, because it's just a movie that kind of just always keeps my attention and is just always a good time. Now, is it the most well-written script and the most fantastic comedy of all time? No, but it's a movie that I genuinely just have a good time with, and I love the cast of this movie. You have Vince Vaughn, Jason Bateman, Kristen Bell, Jon Favreau, and so many others. This film is littered with big names and even some smaller names that you may recognize from different movies. I really enjoy the cast of this film. Vince Vaughn is the main character of the film. He's the straight man, and I just always loved his very dry, kind of laid-back humor, and he kind of just has this funny, laid-back kind of vibe in this movie that he does in a lot of other movies. And watching him in this movie, what makes him funny for me is he reminds me of a lot of people that I know in my life. These very just chill, laid-back guys who would just drop these one-liners and these jokes that are not really that funny, but it's just how they say it that's funny. And Vince Vaughn is that for me in this movie, so he kind of just drives the comedy of this film for me because he is the straight man. You have a ton of the other characters that are kind of going through all these different things, and the basic premise of this film is that you have a bunch of couples that are going together to this retreat island, this island called Eden, where they're going to go and kind of be able to find some new balance and love in their relationship. And it really starts off mainly because Jason Bateman and Kristen Bell, who are a couple in this film, come to all of their mutual friends, their mutual couple friends that include Vince Vaughn, Jon Favreau, and all of them. And they pretty much come to all of their friends and say, hey, listen, we're having marriage issues, we're not able to conceive, and it's causing arguments. We're only really having sex when we need to or want to try to have a kid. There's not as much emotion and love there, and that they're thinking about having a divorce. And so they pretty much get this one opportunity for a discounted price to be able to go to this couples retreat, but they need all of their friends to come with them so that the price can be, you know, the discount. And so, yeah, that's basically the premise. All these guys come along to go onto this nice, beautiful island where there's going to be jet skis and all this fun stuff so that they can help Jason Bateman and Kristen Bell's characters so that they can, you know, rekindle their love. And when they arrive, they find out that it's not just going to be this free-for-all, go ride as the jet skis, go snorkeling, and do whatever you want. You have to stick to this very specific regimen, and you have to be awake at a certain time. You have to go to couples counseling, and you have to do all this really lame stuff before you can do any of the great stuff. And what I enjoy about this film is that it focuses mainly on Jason Bateman and Kristen Bell's characters as far as the ones who need to kind of be rehabilitated. But as the movie goes on, it doesn't take very long for you to realize that each and every single one of these couples has tons of underlying issues, and I just really enjoy the way that they handle that. I enjoy the characters and kind of the silliness that goes around the couple issues, but also kind of realizing some more serious issues and kind of seeing them come full circle by the end of the movie. This is your happy-go-lucky comedy that by the end, any of the issues that all of the characters had with each other at the beginning of the movie is resolved. There is tons of love and a bunch of smiles and all that jazz at the very end of the movie. So it is one of those fairly predictable comedies, but it's just one of those movies that I enjoy the character interactions. Like BLACKTASTIC is going to say in a little bit, the interactions mainly between the guys, Vince Vaughn, Jon Favreau, Jason Bateman, and the other guys, that's kind of some of the funniest parts of the movie. The women in this film are great too. I really enjoy them. But without a doubt, the guys are definitely some of the funniest part of this movie. And yeah, you know, this is just a movie that puts a smile on my face. I think it's not the most fantastic movie of all time, but it's a movie that genuinely just makes me laugh. Now, before we get much further into this, let's go ahead and hear what BLACKTASTIC Media had to say about this.
Does yoga. This dude is buff, damn near naked, and all he does is fondle everybody's wife and put his butthole and balls in the face of all the men as he's stretching them out. Yo, what's up, my YouTube fam? I'm back again, kicking it with my man Anthony Perez on his channel with another collab. He contacted me to view this movie, Couples Retreat. Now, this movie came out October the 9th, 2009. I remember seeing the previews and the trailers for this movie, but never really had any interest to see this movie. Now, I'm gonna give you a little bit of history and hard numbers here. This movie was released by Universal. The budget was $60 million. Now, during this whole time, box office release time, it made $171 million, almost 3 times its budget. That has success written all over it. I'm not done yet. Check out the cast: Jason Bateman, Jon Favreau, Vince Vaughn, and Faison Love, and some cute women. I don't remember their name. It was directed by Peter Billingsley. He was the little kid who was in that movie Christmas Story, the little blonde kid with the blue eyes and glasses. He directed this movie. It was his debut as a director. Everything says success. Great cast, it made money, funny movie, right? Nah, bruh, this movie wasn't funny. I was highly disappointed. I was like, wait a minute. But there's a reason why this movie's not funny. It starts with the director. First time director, directing comedy. You gotta know what you're doing. It's written by Vince Vaughn and his homeboy, Jon Favreau. They wrote it together. They have been lifelong writing buddies when it comes to movies. And they figured together we'd do this again like we did in Swingers, get back together and have a smash hit. Well, the premise of this movie, you got 4 couples, right? Well, the main couple, Jason Bateman and his wife, are having marital problems. They can't make a baby. They're on the verge of divorce. They find this place called Eden where you go to fix your marriage. It's like a couple's retreat. There's one catch. It's very expensive, but you get a group discount if you invite your friends. So he has all his buddies over. They're talking, hey, we're going through some things, guys. We hate to bring this up, but we're on the verge of divorce. We're trying to save our marriage. We was wondering if you could help by coming to this couple's retreat at a place called Eden, which is really Tahiti in real life. They're like, okay, tropical place, games, water, half-naked women, drinks, and yeah, a discount. We'll go. And this movie, the first 20 to 30 minutes is probably the best part. Is probably the funniest because Vince Vaughn plays the straight man in this movie. Him and his wife, the problem they have is they don't have enough time to spend with each other because they have kids. Faison Love, this black motherfucker, is going through a midlife crisis and dating a 20-year-old chick while he's in his late 40s. Jon Favreau, him and his wife, they are high school sweethearts. They've been together since high school. She got pregnant early at the junior prom or senior ball or something. She was a cheerleader, he was a football player. Well, all they do is cheat on each other because they don't know no better because they've never been with anybody else. And then you have Jason Bateman, and him and his wife can't make a baby. So that's pretty much the premise of all the couples. You're thinking, okay, once they get to this retreat, then the fun starts. They get to this retreat and they're having this invitational dinner. They meet the people who are hosting this event, and they're like, yeah, we're gonna get up and I'm gonna sleep in the morning. I'm not gonna get up early. I'm gonna go water skiing. The guy says, oh no, sorry sir, you signed up for the wrong thing. Here, you're gonna get up at 5 a.m. and we have a counseling meeting at 6. He goes, dude, I was planning to sleep in. He goes, no, you're on the wrong island. See, the other side of the island is for couples, and their main objective is to have sex and bring out their innermost ambitions. Here is a couples retreat. We're here to save your marriage. And they were like, oh man, we got duped. We don't want to do this bullshit. Well, too bad. You learn all about the couples the next segment of the movie, because they wake up early in the morning. Each couple has a segment where they're sitting down with some kind of counselor telling their stories. Yeah, these people are pretty fucked up. And you think this is where the comedy starts, because they're doing all these things, like they go out, the guys end up in the water, and they're surrounded by sharks. One of them get nicked by a shark. He's looking for sympathy for his wife, but she wanted to go somewhere, have a romantic evening with her husband, but he's too hung up on being almost ate by a shark that he don't want to do nothing. Faison Love, his girl, runs off and go hangs out with a bunch of youngsters because she's 20 years old. Leave his black fat ass by himself looking stupid. Then there's this Puerto Rican gentleman who does yoga. This dude is buff, damn near naked, and all he does is fondle everybody's wife and put his butthole and balls in the face of all the men as he's stretching them out. Very uncomfortable. This is probably the biggest chuckle I got out of the whole movie. And then there's another scene where you got to strip down in front of your mates and also your partner's mates. Faison forgets to wear underwear. Everybody strips down to the underwear. His girl pulls his shorts down. This man is stark, bucket ass naked. And you see how big this dude is. This dude's stomach looks like there's 7 medicine balls in his stomach fighting for freedom. It's disgusting. It's meant to be funny, but it wasn't funny. And the movie gets really boring after that. The young black chick runs off. They're looking for her. There's a segment to go to the other island where all the singles are at. Jon Favreau's character is trying to relive his youth. His wife is doing the same thing. She really wants to sleep with that dude who's a yoga instructor. The redheaded wife, who's married to Vince Vaughn, she's mad at him, but he comes and saves her. He gives her some most ridiculous lines like, can I borrow your cell phone? I want to call heaven and tell God he's missing an angel. It was lame as fuck, but it worked. And she went off with her husband. So moral of the story, everybody finds out their weaknesses, their faults. The main thing is communication. In most relationships, people don't communicate no more. You get used to that person and you take that person for granted. When you have kids, you got to make time to spend with each other. When you just got together at a young age, never really dated, you got to learn to work that shit out. Learn to be appreciative of each other, not despise each other. And because your wife can't get pregnant is not a reason why you should get divorced. There's other ways you can work things out and talk things through. And it's okay to be mad and it's okay to be forgiven, but you got to talk about it. You got to tell your mate how you truly feel. And this movie had a chance to be funny, man. It was just not funny. I had a couple of chuckles, but there's a scene where Faison is laying on the bed naked and this girl's pouring hot wax on his body. And I'm like, I know this is meant to be funny, but it's not. And with Vince Vaughn, him playing a straight man was the wrong casting. It should have been reversed. If Vince Vaughn would have played the guy that got married early and was cheating on his wife, that would have been funny because he has the character to be funny. And Jon Favreau trying to play this suave, trying to be young again, it didn't work. It didn't fit. They should have reversed roles. Yeah, this movie was very disappointing. I know why I never went to go see it, but it made money. It's an all-star comedy cast, but the flavor just wasn't sweet enough. The Kool-Aid needed more sugar. It wasn't quite right. But hey, first time director, you run into these problems. When you have seasoned writers, they probably had a lot of influence on this movie because, now when all the men were on screen together are the best parts of the movie. Nothing against the wives in this movie. It just, they had no flavor. I didn't care about none of the women in this movie at all. They wasn't funny. They didn't do nothing for me. They were pleasant to look at. They was attractive, but that's where it begins and ends. The men had the best lines, but a lot of it was slapstick. A lot of it was too serious when it should have been funny. And I had a lot of setups, but the jokes quite never landed. I believe this movie was meant to be rated R, but at the last minute they switched it to PG-13. Because if you look it up, there's an unrated version of this movie that's out there. I've never seen it, and I'm probably never going to see it. That somebody gets it and brings it to my attention and brings it over to my house and force me to watch it. But other than that, I will not watch it. So it kind of reminds me of Die Hard 4, where I think they filmed a rated R version, but released the PG-13 version to get more audience to come in, which was a good move because it made almost 3 times its budget. But a movie like this should have been a raunchy comedy because jokes were leading up to the raunchiness, and right when the raunchiness is supposed to kick in, it'll go to another scene. You're like, what? And the setups took forever. Each scene setting up jokes lingered and lingered. It was just like, wow, this is really bad writing. It didn't really fit. But Couples Retreat, it's disappointing. It's not very funny, but interesting backstory with a first-time director and buddies coming together to write a film and star in it. And wow, it just didn't click with audiences. Well, some audiences because it made money, but not really my type of comedy. It didn't really make me laugh at all. But hey, judge it for yourself. If you want to see it, good luck. But I wouldn't advise you to go check out this movie. With that, I say thank you for stopping by my man, Mr. Perez's channel, checking us out, do this collab together. Hey, if I offend you, then you don't understand me. But if I inspire you, you will learn to love me. Until next time, be sure to like, share, subscribe to my man's channel. Anthony A. Perez is the man. And I'm out. And remember, yo, it's just my point of view.
As usual, a big thanks to my buddy BLACKTASTIC Media for being here in this video. As usual, you can find the link to his channel down below in the description box. Go give him some love. Let him know I sent you. And yeah, man, I was disappointed to see that you didn't love this movie or even really enjoy it that much, that it wasn't that funny for you. And so I am curious to try to find that comedy that's your sweet spot. The first movie we actually collaborated on together, BLACKTASTIC and I, was Undercover Brother, and we both loved that film. So if you guys haven't seen our review for that, definitely go check that out in the playlist I have called Videos Featuring Other YouTubers. But yeah, I love this film, and it's a bummer that you didn't enjoy it, but I appreciate you doing this. And what I love about BLACKTASTIC is his ability to watch a movie and be able to speak so much about it in this very just fluid way. You have a flow, dude. You never really seem to take any breaks, and you know exactly what you want to say, even if you didn't love the movie. And I think that even if you hate a movie that I love, just hearing you speak about it and the way you choose to break it down is tons of excitement for me. So really happy to have you in this video as usual, my friend, and I can't wait to see what we do next. So yeah, Couples Retreat. It's a film that you're not necessarily going to this for cinematography or just groundbreaking performances. This is just a silly, over-the-top comedy with really silly and over-the-top situations. There's a moment in this film where Vince Vaughn's character is in the ocean, and there's a bunch of lemon sharks around him. He ends up getting scraped or kind of like nipped on his leg. He thinks he was attacked by a shark. Some people think he may have just scratched himself on the ladder on his way up. That whole sequence is so over the top and so silly, but I love it. It's just so dumb, and the kind of dryness of the humor is really what keeps this film entertaining for me. So I highly recommend Couples Retreat. I don't have a whole lot more to say about it, but it's a movie that I just wanted to kind of do a review for and recommend it for other people to go check it out. If you're a fan of Jason Bateman, Vince Vaughn, Jon Favreau, and these guys, I definitely recommend going to check it out because I find this movie to be a funny time, but maybe you'll be in Blacktastic's corner and not find this film that funny. I think the Rotten Tomato score online is not phenomenal, but you know, it's a comedy, it's going to be subjective, it's not necessarily something that's going to be absolutely hilarious and fantastic, but I do really enjoy it and I would love to hear what you guys have to say. So hit the like button down below if you guys enjoyed this video, comment your thoughts. I can't wait to hear what you guys have to say about this one, and as usual, you can find the link down below for Blacktastic, and I'll see you guys in the next one. Bye-bye.